Alright, so in this lecture we'll be talking about the concept of canvas, alright? And I told you that we were going to talk about it in this lecture. We've covered basically the main GUI elements of the Tkinter module, but we're now getting on to that graphics stage, the graphics stage, I'm sorry. So with graphics comes the canvas, alright? So go ahead and let's get our first few lines set, alright? TK is equal to TK. Right? And last but not least, we had, not TK, but root. We always did root. And then root dot main loop. Alright? So this was basically our main three statements that we wrote. And what I want to do now is add our canvas. Okay? So we have our root and go ahead and create canvas. Canvas is going to be equal to the canvas function. And here you basically specify what frame it's from and maybe the width and the height. So over here it's going to be root. And then let's do width is equal to 400 or, something small, 300. And height is equal to 300. And then all I want to do is canvas.pack. All right, save that, run it. And it's not going to give me a dialog saying, hey, how do you want to save this? So as you know, I always do new projects. So I'm going to call this as canvas Tkinter. Save in my documents. All right. Let me move this out of the way for you guys. Cool. So I'm going to run this again. Command R. Whoops. F5 actually. That same Swift issue. But here we go. So the Python launcher loads and I get the error canvas is not defined, obviously, because I spelled it wrong. There we go. Save that. F5. And now what we should see is basically a window, all right? Take a look. So you're probably wondering, well, what's the difference between this and the ones we've created before? Well, the thing with this specific window is now we can add objects, rectangles, arcs, ovals, ellipses, you name it. We can create those shapes, fill them, add colors, add animation, all through this canvas module. So again, it's very cool. Let me just go ahead and end this lecture with a simple statement. So let's say we're talking about rectangles, all right? I want to create a rectangle. How does this work? You call the function canvas dot, and then if you just go down and you want to go to the create section, okay? You have all these different things you can create. You can create a window, you can create text, you can create a rectangle, polygon, oval, line, all this random stuff, and we're going to get to some of them, not all of them, but at least some of these creations. We're going to say create rectangle. And the create rectangle function takes in a lot of parameters, but 4 basic parameters. And these parameters are the x1 and y1 coordinates and the x2 and y2 coordinates. So if you know what I'm talking about, great. Otherwise, don't worry. I'm going to explain it right now. So I'm going to choose a 300 by 300 sized thing, all right? Suppose this is my rectangle. Oh, no, actually, this is my screen, all right? This is my 200 by 200 screen, and I want to create a rectangle that starts from here and goes all the way down to here, okay? So let's say I want to create this. How would this work? Well, the parameters the canvas.createRectangle takes is this point. So let me go ahead and change the color over here to make it nice and, you can take a look. So this point, this is x1, comma y1, all right? And the second parameters, or the second parameters it takes is this one. So the x2, comma y2 parameters, all right? So let's say I wanted to create this rectangle. What's the x1, y1 coordinates of this? Well, just to let you guys know, the top left corner of our canvas will always be 0, 0. So right now, when we created this 300 by 300 square, I guess, this end of it, this end right here would be, if you're a little ahead of me, 300 by 300, okay? So what is this point? Well, to the x, you know that this whole thing is 300. This might be about 20 or 30. So let's call this 20. And as you can see with the y value, it's going to be 20 as well. So let's do 20, 20 for the x1 and y1. Now moving on to x2 and y2. So x2, as you can see, if this was 20, this is probably 100. All right. It's about a third. So let's go ahead and put 100 as the x2. And what's y2? Well, you know that the full width, right, is 300. And it's ending over here. So this might be 270, all right? So our final parameters are 20, 20, 100, and 270. Let's go ahead and try it out. 20, 20, what did I say? I'm sorry, brain freeze. 100 and 270, all right? So there we go, save this, and F5. Let's take a look. So opening up my shell, ta-da! So going to Paintbrush and comparing, what do you think, guys? Pretty close, right? So hopefully you understood how this creation of objects work. Basically, you call the function create blah. It can be an arc, image, rectangle. Again, we'll get to those. And the parameters it takes is the x1 and y1 of the top left of that object and the bottom right coordinates of the object. So the x2 and y2. Awesome job, and I'll see you in the next lecture.